Bob Seger. I'm sure you have heard of him, unless some of you are under 50. Hello. Good evening. Where are you watching from? I like to read out the first 10 and see if I've got more than in England than America. Dorset's first. Maryland, 1-1. Brazil, Connecticut, Colorado, Northamptonshire. It's even. Cheltenham. How are you? Got some questions? Just get on with it, shall we? I mean, we're here now. Let's make the most of it. Stuve, S-T-U-V, asks, can you tell us about your process for building a character, shaping its personality, the dynamics, etc.? And at what point in your life did you start writing down your jokes and funny ideas? Well, not till late. I was always mucking around, and I suppose I was honing my craft without knowing it, socially. But I probably didn't start thinking about doing it properly, mid to late 30s. So how do you start it? It depends. I think in comedy, TV, sitcom certainly, character does come first. Usually a central character. I think nearly everything I've done, the character I play was the central character, and I played them because I knew them. There was sometimes they're a Frankenstein of people that you've met along the way, and you do an impression of that, like David Brent, or part of your personality, like David Brent was, and Derek was. We talked about this before. Tony from Extras. There's a certain part of you in all your characters, you think of something. You think of something about them. What's the main thing about them? For example, like slightly different because the concept sort of came at the same time as the character. But the character I play in Afterlife, we know he's angry and rude and sad because of something that's happened to him. His wife died of cancer, and that's why he was like that. So, is he intrinsic like that, or did it change him? Well, we sort of know it changed him because we see the flashbacks and know that he was loving life. He was happy-go-lucky, funny. So you start with this angry character. You go, what's funny about that? Well, he's rude to people. Is he clever? He's sort of clever. Is he malicious? Yeah, but he's also got a conscience. So you're already mixing these things up. He wants to hurt someone's feelings, but then he feels guilty, so maybe he shouldn't. So you want to make him sort of complex. It's not Marvel. It's not someone who's always really good and someone who's always really bad. Everyone's a mixture of all those things. Bad people do good things sometimes, and good people do bad things sometimes. And you want people to change as well. Not too much. It's a sitcom, although it's not a typical sitcom. But that's the other thing. Sitcom with like a movie or a drama, you often have a beginning, middle, and end. Whereas with sitcom, you want to hit the ground running. You never want to change too much because it's not the situation anymore. But I like to mix the two a little bit. I like to do a bit of a hybrid. So there's dramatic elements. My characters are more real than usual, but it's all about conflict. It's all about characters. Because him wandering around the earth by himself, not a problem. But the fact he has to deal with people who don't deserve his wrath, or they do, that's what's interesting. And you build the character situations. You think of something that might happen. You go, how would he deal with that? I don't know if that answers your question. I tried. Leopold and Loveday. If you could be a fly on the wall, who would you want to listen in on? Oh, God. Oh. Difficult to say. Everyone's so open now, aren't they? Everyone's got their own reality. Everyone tweets. There'd be no secrets. There's no secrets anymore. I'd say most people would use some sort of political or governmental or, you know, listening on Kim Jong Un or something. But I don't know. I'd probably choose someone like that angriest guitarist on YouTube. I want more of him. I think that's someone who's odd. Someone who's, someone who's a bit different, I think. I could have chosen anyone. I don't know why Right, look it up. I think we've talked about this before. But put in YouTube, angriest guitarist. It's this bloke, it's this Scouse bloke trying to play this thing on the guitar. I don't know why, but he can't do it. And his mate's winding him up. And I don't know why, it's just the funny. Anger's funny. Anger's funny. He's not trying to be funny, he's trying to do a thing. So he's angry when he can't do it. That's what's funny. Anger is funny. The person not wanting to do what they're doing. That's why clowns aren't funny. Clowns mean to fall over and I think that someone who doesn't want to do something, that's funny. Oh dear. Life is cruel. That's what comedy is about. Life is cruel. Chris, would you ever go against type and write and star in a violent film? Yeah. Something like Harry Brown. I loved that film. I loved that film. Not because of the violence, but because he was the underdog. And, they didn't see him coming. They wrote him off because he was an old man. So that's exactly up my street. Yeah, it would have to be sort of nuanced. I don't care for just those films that the last half is like a video game where you don't know what's shooting who up. It's the director getting carried away with we're allowed to blow up cars and helicopters and just too much. It becomes meaningless. So I like that. It was a really quiet. He had to do what he had to do. I do like those sort of. Everyone likes revenge, whether they say so or not. There's something. I think justified violence is exhilarating because we want bad people to get their comeuppance. That's in our genes. That justice. So yeah, I would like that as long as it was, smart and nuanced, and it's believable. I couldn't suddenly be the world's greatest kung fu master. I'd have to be an unlikely hero, just someone who snapped. That would be good. Yeah. So would you ever do a writing masterclass on Instagram? Well, I sort of sneak it in on this, but I would like to do. Yeah, I think I would like to do a series of podcasts like that, a masterclass one on. I thought of like calling it 100 questions. So just like you're doing now, I ask for 100 questions, and I answer them all about writing, then on stand-up, then on acting. That would be nice. But I'd have to keep saying, this is not the way to do it, this is the way I did it. It turns out I could have been just like, I haven't made normal choices, and it could have ended really badly. So if someone else made the choices I made, they might end up sleeping in a car. So I did inside the actor's studio, and I kept saying to the students, but I'm not saying this is the right way. I'm just saying this is what I did. But yeah, I'd love to do that. Yeah. Kermit. If Jane decided she wanted to cut her hair down to a buzz cut, basically a tennis ball head, how would you feel about it? Would it bother you, or would you just basically feel her head all day? I'd be concerned. Why is she suddenly? That's very out of character. Jane suddenly shave her head off. So not her head off, but her hair off. But I wouldn't mind. If you're saying would I mind because I didn't like it, I don't know. It was up to her. If she was happy, I'd be just fine with it. I'd tease her. I would call her tennis ball head. She'd know that though. She'd know that going into the venture. But I probably would say, I probably would say, "Are you sure?" Only because I'd worry that she'd go, "What the fuck have I done?" So if your question is because I don't like it, would I care? No, that's it. It's up to her. I'd never, you know. But I certainly would go. What do you mean you want to be a skinhead? I'm more likely to do something stupid like that. Not this stupid to shave your head, but you know what I mean. That's not, I'd worry because it'd be very out of character. Uh, Susie, following on from the prostitute penguins, who could forget that? This time, masturbating squirrels. And there's a screen grab of one of those sites, fact tweets. Squirrels masturbate to avoid STIs, sexually transmitted infection. We say STD. So, what do I think about squirrels masturbating to avoid getting gonorrhea? I'm all for it. I mean, I don't know if I'd take that fact on face value, only because I see it came from one of those sites, and I don't know if they've been verified. I don't know who's in charge of those. It might be true. I mean, I can believe that squirrels masturbate, but to avoid, how would they know? Now, is that evolutionary? Is that an instinct, or is it behavioural? If it's behavioural, how did they know? Who's saying, Frank, don't go near that squirrel? She gave Reg a clap. He came out in boils and died. Have a wank, mate. I don't know how this. I don't know how this trend starts amongst squirrels. All right, Jet. Well, what are you doing, mate? I'm just having a wank because my bird's got clap. I'm not sure how this fact works. I'm also not sure if that's why. I could see it if they just did it because they liked it, but I don't know why that would. It's very. Is it true? It might be true. Someone Google it. Do squirrels masturbate to avoid diseases? I don't know. Also, I don't know. Are we taking that as broad? Because, they might all do it. A scientist might have seen one squirrel masturbating and he did his paper, and all the other squirrels are going, yeah, but you saw Rodney. He's the only squirrel that does that. The rest of us, Rodney's is masturbating all the time. And the scientist went, squirrels masturbate. And all the others went, fuck me, this is absolute libel. I've always thought that though. Like when they find one example of, a species of humanoid, and they find one complete skeleton, right? And they go, oh, and they did this, and they did that, and he's this tall. But what if he was a freak? What if all the others are going? They found Humpy. They've dug up Humpy, and they think we're all like that. You know what I mean? But listen, if squirrels want to have a little tug, and they do it in the privacy of their own tree, I'm all for it. I wouldn't, if I was in the park and I was having my sandwich and one came and did it in front of me, I'd go, you dirty little fucker. Get out, little fucking, you filthy little. Oh dear. Oh, these questions. Bella, have you ever lost yourself in a moment and before you know it, you've ripped all the fluff off a tennis ball? No, but do you know what I do, right? And I've done it all my life, and it's ridiculous. I sort of chew my fingers now and again. It's probably in times of stress like that. I look down and I have to make it neater. And there's a little, there's a little bit. I've got to make now. I've got to chew that off there, and then eventually, fucking gone too far, and it's bleeding. So I suppose I've got one there. I've got one there. Look, see? Well, I've done that. I thought I'll just neat that, and then I've gnawed. So I don't gnaw through. I gnaw through my own fingers. Good question, Bella. Um, Tiana, would you be willing to award a fan or two of yours a chance to be an extra in Afterlife? Your fans would love that, myself included. A raffle maybe. Donating to an animal charity. Uh, and you randomly pick the receipts. I would, but the problem is uh, there's like people we use, and there's unions, and there's people who do that for a living, and I don't use a lot of extras anyway. Uh, I think I've been on movies where they've done it. People have paid towards stuff like not crowdfunding, but to be in it. But I probably wouldn't because of that it's complicated and it would put other people's nose out of joint because there are people who do that professionally and that's their living, that's their only income. So I probably wouldn't because of that. They do those things where people pay £1,000 for a ticket to meet you after the gig, and I don't do it because it's awkward and I like to get in the car and get home. But I also do it because I just don't think it's worth it. I don't want to take someone's money to say hello to me. I just want to go spend it on something better, mate. Don't. Just buy yourself something. Buy yourself a bike. Don't just see me. I feel bad when I found out my tickets have gone for that on eBay. I want to give the front row my watch or something. So it's a nice idea, but I probably won't. But thank you. Gunnar and Andy. Flamingos turn pink due to the sheer amount of shrimp they consume. What colour should you turn into based by the amount of food or drink you consume? Be red from red wine. I mean, I reckon that's red wine coming out of my pores. It's the only thing of any particular colour that I have every day. So I think mine would be red wine. So someone said, "Oh, you look healthy." It's red wine coming out of my cheeks. Hasn't stained my teeth. I do brush my teeth sort of 3 times a day, but I wonder it hasn't. Maybe I drink it too quick. I don't swill it around. It just goes down my throat like a pelican. so I don't. I don't. Oh, like that maybe. Yeah, so it'd be red wine. Uh, I've had hardly any white wine this year. It seems to have been a red wine type of year. Teddy, the Romanian rescue. I've been learning to sit and give my paw, and the humans keep repeating, "Who's a good boy?" Basically wants to know what should he answer. What's the answer to the question? Who's a good boy? Well, it's you, Teddy. You're the good boy. That's what they're saying. Who's a good boy? You just go me. Okay. Right. I'm glad Teddy, the Romanian rescue. That gives me an excuse to mention pause to rescue. Pause to number 2 rescue. Follow them, and if you can, help, because it's a small, tiny organisation. They go over to Romania and they do it themselves. They save these dogs. It's a bad situation, and they need funding. I'm a patron, so I'll do a little link to that. It's a really good. If you want a good charity that's really needed, and they work so hard, and the result is just a happy, lovely dog. Pause to rescue. That's my charity plug. Titch, hey uncle. You've talked a lot about the flat you shared with Auntie. Oh, that must be the terrible one. But where did you live after? as you don't just move into a mansion. Can you remember the feeling of what you did both do when you finally didn't have to pee in the sink? Well, it was a long process. So yeah, the first flat we had was a terrible sort of one room, sort of in King's Cross, and then we got a slightly better flat down the road in Bloomsbury, which we liked. It was tiny. We could, we liked it more. It was a nice thing. And then we had to move out of that. I don't know why the building worked, or they sold it or something. So we had to move back to the shit one again, in the room above or below. I can't remember. And that was depressing the second time. And we spent a year there. And then we got one in the nice place again. And then we lived there for quite a while, renting. And then we bought our first flat, which was again a one-bedroom flat, in sort of King's Cross, all we could afford. And we got a bargain on that because it was like a repossession from some, I don't know, drug dealers or something. I remember the side of the bath was off, so I don't know, but it was a sort of a rundown place, so it was a bit of a bargain, and we did that up, and then we sold that and got a slightly better one, and we just kept doing that really. Um, uh, I think, but if we hadn't got that initial one for a bargain, and the bank manager took a chance on us because he trusted us, it's weird because as soon as we got a mortgage, we were paying less a month than we were rent. I mean that, but you can't. It's hard to get over that little hump if you're not earning much. So we were very lucky and just kept, I suppose, creeping up the ladder a little bit. No, we didn't just move from a one-bedroom flat to a mansion. No, we won the lottery. It took about 25 years. Freya, if you had to be one of these characters for a week, who would you be? A. David Brent, B. Andy Millman. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's got to be Andy Millman because I think I'd be treated normally. I mean, if you were Brent, I mean, basically you're saying, would I be sort of like grumpy or a pain in the arse to everyone I met for a week? I mean, it'd be fun being David Brent. Probably not for David Brent. I think Andy Millman, because I think I can get away with it for a week without anyone noticing. Dougal, you are 80 years old and Jane has pushed you out on the heath for some fresh air. Who would you prefer to argue with, the pigeons or the squirrels? Well, from what I've learned about squirrels, I think I'll talk to the pigeons. Because I'm 80 years old and I'm going, hello Cyril, the squirrel. Oh Cyril, what? Oh, stop wanking when I'm talking to you, mate. It's... Well, I think that was particularly bollocks this week, wasn't it? What did we learn? We started to learn how to build a character and how to make him nuanced and complex, and how he reacts to things that happen. It's not just things that happen, it's how he reacts that makes him different. And conflict is different people having different wants and needs, and that's what conflict is, everyone being different and wanting something. Then we went straight to squirrels masturbating, really. That's the two main things. But yes, I would. That's a good idea. I think I would like to do some sort of online, something like this, light-hearted, but talking about the craft and going into ridiculous anecdotes. Keep it interesting for people who don't want to be writers or stand-ups, because I mean, it's still a small percentage of people that want to do that. But Like, for example, you lot, if if you don't want to be a writer, or don't want to be a stand-up, are you interested in other people talking about their passion that doesn't interest you as such? You know, do you know what I mean? Are you? I want to be a scientist, really. If I'm being honest, that's all I watch now. I watch. I just find. I want to be. My favourite is evolutionary biology. I want to know where we came from and where we're going. That's what fascinates me. I want to know everything about evolutionary biology, anthropology, social behaviour, and what what we can do to save the planet, because we've put ourselves in charge and we've absolutely fucked it. We're wiping out thousands of species, um, and we should have left it. If we left it alone, it'd be great, you know. And I think we're trying to get around it. We're trying to repair it with these man-made tools. And if we just let nature go back, it worked. It was a great system. So I want to learn everything. How do we get here? Where are we going? What's the point? Why is that squirrel masturbating? Why is that? And that's the other thing. Maybe a scientist was following a squirrel, and the squirrel just turned around and went, "Oh," like that. And the scientist went, "Oh, squirrels masturbate." Now, do you know what I mean? Like when a paparazzi tries to annoy you, so he gets that shot. Like that. I was walking down the street once, a paparazzi was taking, I was like, he went, "Do something," because he wanted me to go, "Fuck off." And I was going, like that. So maybe that's what the squirrel did. Anyway, right. Basically, that's what's come out of this, isn't it? Wanking squirrels. But it is called absolute bollocks, isn't it? So, yeah. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks for asking the question. Thanks for following. Follow Pause to Rescue. And I'll think about doing a masterclass as well for anyone who's interested. Cheers, everyone. Tatty bye.